Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. If you are somebody who's just not feeling the way you feel you should be feeling, let's say something's not right in terms of your health overall. Most times it can be traced back to your digestive health, what you're eating. Well, we've got somebody that's going to help you out with that today. And her name is Nancy Javaras. She joins us. She's an integrative health and weight loss coach, specialist in digestion, detox, weight loss, corporate wellness speaker. She's a certified golden light healer. She knows her stuff, and it's great to have you with us, Nancy. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Steve. I'm doing well.
Now, your company is Nancy's Nutrition. You've been around since 1998. And what makes you different is more of a holistic approach in terms of coaching people in person and also online. What are some of the things that you do to help people? I know there's so much going on and within our bodies, especially in terms of digestion, but how do you help clients overall?
Well, I always look at gut health first, because if they don't have good gut health, they're not going to be healthy. So, and that's my specialty is digestion, detox, and weight loss. So I always start with the gut, because if the gut isn't well, then nothing else is going to go well. And then I also look at the emotional body, because emotions help to rule our physical body. So that's what makes me different.
Isn't it amazing? And I love you for bringing up that point, how this is connected to this stomach. And most people don't know that. And I mean, there's a direct correlation between the two. And that's a lot of times why people have ulcers. I'm not the expert. I did have an ulcer about 5 years ago. And why?
Oh.
Yeah. Why? Because too much stress, not enough sleep. It wasn't really so much what I was eating, but when I had something, and I didn't know it was an ulcer at the time, whatever I hate would aggravate it. If you have, let's say a beer every once in a while, or, spicy foods, or, foods with tomato. So there's the direct correlation between the two. What are some of the health concerns you address in your practice when you work with clients?
Well, anybody that has digestion issues, Steve, anything, gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, or both, IBS. I have a lot of celiac clients. I have a lot of clients that have gluten intolerance, and they may not know it, but then after they work with me, they realize, oh boy, that made a big difference in my health, getting rid of gluten. And then also anything with the gut-brain connection. I have clients with anxiety, with ADD, ADHD, brain fog, things like that. Also skin issues, because that can be related to the gut. So also hypothyroidism, and also adrenal fatigue and chronic fatigue. And of course,
it's amazing how this is all connected. And nowadays, especially, I don't want to say post-COVID, but we're kind of out of COVID for the moment. So much anxiety, so much stress that people are dealing with. And
yep.
You say a lot of it is related to their digestive health?
Absolutely, because our nervous system, the second brain is in the gut. The gut is very connected to our brain. And so if we are anxious and have feelings of anxious or worried, or those are feelings that are in our chakras, down in our relationship chakras. So if we don't feel safe, if we're afraid, if we have anxiety for any reason, that affects our gut health big time. And then that affects our thoughts. So it's really amazing. So the gut is really important in order to heal, and I've helped so many people in the past 2 years that have had anxiety, especially college kids that have had anxiety for the first time in their life. And it's profound how once I heal the gut and the gut-brain connection and give them stress reduction strategies to release the stress that's in their body, how they can heal, and then they can get off their anxiety meds and just feel so much better. But everybody, a lot of people have anxiety today. A lot.
I know.
And people have never had it before. Never. But now they have just stress overload. It's too much. So I teach them how to get rid of that stress on a daily basis so they can feel good about their future, good about the world, good about healing their body, empower them that they can do several things on a daily basis to get rid of it.
Tell everybody your website.
My website is nancysnutritioninc.com, or it's healthandweightlosscoach.com. That's healthandweightlosscoach.com.
We're going to talk about what you have called a root cause consult in a second, but I want to go back to the stress thing and the anxiety. Does it often start in somebody's head and then travel to the gut, or it's a lot of times it begins down here and then that's where it all festers and takes over somebody's emotional well-being?
Well, emotions are stored in our body and we don't realize it, and they're all stored. It's a scorecard that's kept stored forever. All the emotions of fear we've kept in our subconscious mind. So whether we were picked on at the playground in preschool, whether somebody beat us up or somebody embarrassed us in front of a girl or a boy, or whether we were dumped by our girlfriend or boyfriend, anything, all of these stresses add up, or we were embarrassed by our boss or fired by our boss. And all these traumas are stored in our subconscious mind. And some people have had more traumas than others. And so once it gets to be built up to the point where we can't handle it anymore, that's when we can get anxiety. When we're up to here, like we've had our full share of way too many traumas without releasing them and without doing techniques to release them. So that's what happens. It's just overload. It's overload of too much emotional stress. And that affects how we think. So our emotions affect how we think.
You're amazing.
It's not the other way around. It's not the other way around. It's our emotions rule our body. We don't want to think that, but they do.
You're 100% right. And I'm so happy you said that. And that's what makes you different, Nancy. There are many fantastic weight loss coaches, digestive professionals helping you out with that. But you're identifying the beginning and what you're talking about, that I call it the bucket, the emotional bucket, and it just keeps getting filled up and then it overflows. And that's where the anxiety kicks in. But to your point, a lot of those things happen when you were a kid, like 0 to 7.
Right.
And you might not even know. And it could have been a word that you heard as a kid and you didn't know any better. It wasn't directed at you, but that was maybe a trigger. And that's another in your bucket that just keeps getting filled up.
Exactly. It can be traumas that we've had even from being born. I mean, there could be traumas stored from our whole lifetime. So those traumas, unless they're released, they do add up, and then it just can be too much and it overload.
Yeah.
And that's when you get symptoms. You can get anxiety. People are going to brain fog. They can have, weight gain unexplained. They don't know why, or they're eating the wrong foods and they don't know why they have these wild cravings. It can be from emotions. So emotions control our life. So that's why we really need to release trauma and stress from our body on a daily basis so we can sleep well, eat well, be healthy, and have healthy thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I read something recently that you could, even before you were born, that can affect you. There's a potential for that. They're doing research on that.
Absolutely. Well, I do believe in multiple lives too. I mean, I didn't before, but now I definitely do, because I've been to many countries where I haven't been in this lifetime, but I felt like, oh, I've been here before. It looks totally familiar. So I do believe in other lifetimes. So the soul carries all those traumas too. So
That I did not know. I never, and I never even thought that. But if you believe in past life regression, if or reincarnation, funny you should say that, because I always had the perception and it was, okay, you're in a new lifetime. It's kind of a clean slate. There is connections here and there. So you're saying, Nancy, that you bring those potential.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you bring all your karma with you. You bring all your trauma with you. Everything comes with the soul. The body is brand new, but the soul is not new. It's old.
Yeah, people. That's why I always say,
Here.
do the right thing. It's really,
karma will come back to bite you if you don't do the right thing.
yeah.
Love people, love God, love all people, because if you don't, bad things happen.
Yeah. Wow. Profound. When I knew we were going to talk today, I didn't know that we would go down this road, and I think it's fantastic because I didn't know that you had metaphysical connections. I thought you were, just not just but, somebody who deals with nutrition, somebody deals with some holistic health. So this is super cool that we're learning about this and how it can affect us. Root cause consult. I saw that on your website. What is that?
Well, root cause consult, I came up with it. It's a 90-minute appointment where I meet with the client for 90 minutes and ask them every single aspect of their life from the moment they were born right through till present day. What traumas they've been through, what stresses, what infections they've had, what medications they've been on, how many antibiotics they've been on, what are their symptoms, do they get a good night's sleep, do they work out, do they eat right? So I get into absolutely every aspect of their life. What are their relationships like? Or what have their relationships been like in, before? So, and when did the symptoms begin? And it's usually around some type of emotional problem. Either they had a grief, they lost their mother, they lost their father, they were in a car accident, they lost their boyfriend, their girlfriend, something happened to them that triggered all the sickness that happened after that. So I also ask questions about their heavy metal toxicity because a lot of people have that and don't realize it. I ask them about their emotions, if they do have traumas that they haven't talked about. And a lot of times people will tell me amazing things that have happened to them that they've never told absolutely anyone. And they feel very good about just getting it off their chest to finally tell someone. So I get into everything from toxicity and gut health, brain health, and then also the spiritual connection. Are they connected? Do they have some type of spiritual practice? It can be anything. It can be, do you walk in the woods, or do you go to church or temple or anywhere? They just need to connect with some spiritual side of themselves because we are spiritual beings. And if they haven't been connecting in some way, then I try to reestablish for them their connection, whatever it is, whether it's God, whether it's Jesus, whether it's angels, whether it's Mohammed. It doesn't matter who it is, but they need to have that spiritual connection so then they don't feel alone in the world. And it's really powerful. So I come up with a roadmap for healing for them. Where it could be heavy metal detox, it could be liver detox. I come up with a roadmap for healing their body. But I get to the root cause of why they got sick. Why do they have these issues? And I am very spiritual. So if I'm not quite sure, I'm a very intuitive person, very intuitive. As soon as I meet somebody, I can almost read them like a book. It's incredible. But if I'm a little bit stumped, then I ask my angels for guidance, and they always help me. When I ask, how can I help this person? How can I best serve them? And then I come up with a roadmap for healing. And then they can either do the roadmap themselves, if they're do-it-yourself type of people, or I can guide them for 6 months on their healing journey. And they can do health coaching with me on every aspect to heal their body, whether it's infections that they don't know about, whether they have fungal overgrowth, whether they have to release traumas in their body, gut healing, brain healing. Everybody's different. Sometimes people have viruses that they don't know about. They could have Epstein-Barr virus and not know it. They could have Lyme disease and not know it. There's a lot of people that have that. So there's so many different things that it can be that they just haven't been able to discover and figure out what is wrong with me and why do I have these symptoms. So that's why I came up with a root cause consult. I came up with it because I had a lot of issues, a lot of health issues, and one by one I've healed them all, but it did take time. And so I give them a roadmap. So that root cause consult has been great for
What a
people that
refreshing.
have some illness and they can't figure it out.
It's a refreshing approach to it. It's almost like you are, Nancy, you're like CSI Gut. Like you're investigating what went down. And
Well,
going back to my ulcer situation, and it's not about me, but I want to share because others probably or experience something similar. I had something going on. I couldn't figure out what it was, but the more I worried about it, the worse it got. And then when I figured out that it was an ulcer, and it wasn't a major one, it's been under control for years, and I haven't even had flare-ups or anything like that. But
Right.
what was the trace back? What was the root cause? The root cause was, at the time, I had been getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:54 a.m. for my job, and I had done that for decades. I had just done a backyard renovation, had some personal life, a little bit of stress going on in there, and all of that stuff put together led me to one day where I said, I can't do this anymore. I got to go to the hospital. I'm just, my blood pressure went up. I was just like, I don't know what it is. And that's what it turned out to be. And the one medication that I didn't take, it was Nexium. I took all the other over the counters, didn't take that one. They gave it to me after the colonoscopy and they said, yeah, why don't you try this one? And that was the fix. And then it was gone, shortly thereafter. Um, Metal detox. Tell me about that. You have a metal detox program. How would we know what are the symptoms if we, have issues with heavy metal?
Well, so many people have it, and I had it myself, so I'm passionate about it. So I always ask people when I meet with them how many silver amalgam fillings they have,
Hmm.
because if 3 or more, chances are they have heavy metal toxicity. But you can get heavy metals from all different areas. They're in the water we drink, they're in air, they're in our food supply, they're in pesticides, they're in cosmetics, they're all over the place. So, but a lot of people aren't good at detoxing them out, and so the liver can get overburdened, and when that happens, then symptoms occur. There's so many different symptoms. I mean, I could spend all afternoon telling you what the symptoms are, but it can be unexplained weight gain, it can be brain fog, so it can affect the mind. Short-term memory can be gone. So anything with ADD, ADHD, autism, any of those can be related to heavy metals in the brain, affecting the brain. And then also belly bloat, it can affect digestion if it's in the gut, if the heavy metals are in the gut. Also cellulite, especially on the legs, if people are developing cellulite, that's a sign that the heavy metals are being stored in the fat cells, because heavy metals like fat cells. So it's the brain, it has fatty tissue, and then so do the thighs, the legs, the rear end, etc. So that's a red flag too, is cellulite.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and then also things like hair loss. It can be from other things too, but it can definitely be from that. This thyroid issues, like hypothyroid, that can be if heavy metals are in the thyroid. So there's so many different. I always look for heavy metals because they're everywhere, and most people are totally unaware that they have heavy metals in their body. But if they have silver amalgam fillings, every filling is 50% mercury. And every time people chew, they don't realize it. They're activating that mercury as a vapor to be released into the brain. So that's why anybody out there should absolutely have those heavy metals removed from their mouth. But they should do it with a biological dentist, because they use extra precautions to make sure that they have heavy duty suction to take out the vapors, and they
Wow.
use all these extra precautions so that you don't get the heavy metals into the body. So that's a big one. That's heavy metals. I've had it. I still have it. I've had my water tested, and sure enough, I had lead and arsenic in my water, even though I have a well. So, we do have a very fantastic state-of-the-art water system now to detox out all heavy metals. But who knows how long I was getting exposed to that. So everybody, in my opinion, should have a heavy metal toxicity test done to see where they're at. And everyone should have it done, because they're in the sky. If you're breathing, then you're getting heavy metals into your body. You're breathing them in through your lungs. And
Unbelievable.
the liver has to process all these heavy metals out of the body, but the livers are just overloaded today because there's so many toxins out there.
We're going to
So
talk
heavy
about the liver.
detox, my time is 7 weeks long, but people need to repeat it again and again and again.
I want to get into liver detox in a sec, but we do have a question. You can reach us anytime, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. This one is from Kelly in Orlando. She says, should we be taking probiotics as a preventative measure?
Absolutely, because most people's gut integrity is not good enough. And so I highly recommend taking probiotics on a daily basis. I do. I have for 25 years, and it really helped me to improve my gut, because your gut microbiome determines your health. If you don't have a healthy gut, then you're not going to be healthy. And everybody's gut integrity today because of, like I just talked about, heavy metals, food, our food supply is damaged, our water is damaged, everything is toxins. So those toxins affect our gut bacteria. So that's why we need to boost up our good gut bacteria by taking probiotics on a daily basis.
When we say probiotics, what do you suggest? We can go into, call it Walgreens, Rite Aid, CVS, and see it there.
Definitely not.
Oh, I said something bad.
Oh,
Retract.
That'd be a hard no. No, it's like anything. There's quality products out there, and then there are products that aren't quality. So
Okay.
the FDA very loosely regulates nutritional supplements in this country. So you can get just about anything when you buy a nutritional supplement and you have no idea what it is, unless it's manufactured to pharmaceutical grade standards, which means it's the same high standards, just like a drug. I represent a company, and people can look it up right on my website, that's pharmaceutical grade. They're listed in the PDR, and those are the products that I recommend because
Mm,
they're pharmaceutical grade. So they test every batch, every time for potency, purity, and bioavailability. Because you don't want to take something thinking it's live probiotics and they're actually dead on arrival. When you get them, they're dead. So you're not getting that good bacteria. So a lot of people waste their money by buying a cheap product for probiotics, and don't do it. You're just wasting your money. If they're not pharmaceutical grade manufactured, don't buy them. They're a waste.
got it.
But I
Okay.
definitely recommend them, and people can buy them right on my website. Look up the products.
Tell us your website once again.
My website is healthandweightlosscoach.com. Health and weightlosscoach.com.
So you just started, before we had the question from Kelly, talking about your liver detox program. Why do we need to detox the liver? I know the liver does a lot, but why don't we go into that?
Oh, sure. So I came up with the liver detox program because I learned so much about the liver and how many different organs it's affiliated with. It's responsible for 500 bodily functions. So it's actually has a relationship with our heart, our lungs, our kidneys, our gallbladder, our gut, and our brain, and our thyroid. So it's connected to everything. So, and then I learned about how it's responsible for metabolizing fat in the body. So I was trying to lose weight. I said, oh, well, I better clean out my liver if I'm going to try to lose weight, because that's where fat's burned. And I wanted to be a fat burning machine, just like everybody else out there. So that's another thing. And then I learned about the importance of it actually cleans the blood every day. That's what it does. And it also makes new blood. And I want my new blood to be clean. I don't want it to be dirty, full of toxins and heavy metals. And it also impacts our energy in our body. And it also impacts our hormones, including our sex hormones. So anybody out there that has men and women, a lot of people today have estrogen dominance. That's a red flag that they have too much estrogen in their body, and that's making them store fat and store extra weight, especially in the middle area for men and for women. And so that's a red flag that they need to do a liver detox, because the liver is also in charge of getting rid of extra estrogen and excreting it out of the body. And it's also responsible for getting rid of extra cholesterol that we don't need in the body, extra cholesterol. So anybody that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and anybody that has hormonal imbalances, anyone that has brain fog, it's definitely a red flag that the liver is being taxed, and it needs to be cleansed and get rid of the toxins. Because we talked earlier about the bucket of toxins, and if the bucket gets too high, then the liver is overwhelmed and new stuff is continually coming in. You're breathing in new air every minute or every second, and you're also getting new toxins coming in through that air. And then you're also everyone's drinking water, and everybody's eating 2 or 3 times per day. So there's new things coming in every minute. And so the body gets just clogged. That liver can get clogged because it's the master filter of the body. It's in charge of taking all toxins that we eat, breathe, or put on our skin. So any way that we get toxins in, and changing those toxins into a less toxic form, and then putting them into bile, manufacturing bile and putting them into bile flow to be excreted out of the body. And it does this every single night while we're sleeping. So that's why liver detox is so important for everybody. Think of it like the car. You know, you have a car, and of course you bring your car to have the oil changed, every couple of months, and they also change the filter. Well, think about it if they did not change the filter and they just put in new oil, but they never changed the filter, your car wouldn't run very well, right? Because
No.
it'd be crud in the filter. It'd be crud trying to go through it, trying to fit through that filter, and it wouldn't fit, and all of a sudden your engine doesn't work. It's the same principle as the liver, because the liver is the master filter in the body, and it has 300 or more small little pathways of drainage, and every one of those think of it like a cheesecloth in front of the drainage to drain out those toxins. So think about that. If all those are clogged, then your blood is going to be really dirty. And think about it, clogged toxic blood flowing to the heart. How's that going to work? Not very well.
Nancy, we're just about out of time. And I have to tell you, I'm hanging on to every word. I've never, I'm not kidding. It's like, what? Like the liver does what? I mean, I know it's important and it does, I had this knowledge of it, not this. Just amazing. You know your stuff, and you take it from such a different area, from the spiritual side to the holistic side to the medical side. If somebody is experiencing any issues or just wants to learn more, do you have a free discovery call? How does it work with you?
I have a free call. Anyone can call me at 508-527-4149. That's 508-527-4149. And I can talk to them for 5 or 10 minutes for free and discover how I could best serve them if it's a good fit for me helping them on their healing journey. So it's free.
Absolutely. Anybody could benefit, because I'm not the expert. I'm not a psychic here, but I can pretty much guarantee that you have issues within your body, all of us, and they're connected to digestion or things that we're ingesting, even the air. Oh, this is scary. The website again is healthandweightlosscoach.com. And the other website, Nancy?
Is Nancy's Nutrition Inc. So Nancy's plural with an S, nutritioninc.com.
Fascinating talking with you today. And in just 30 minutes, we all learned a lot. And reach out to Nancy if you have any questions or if you want to get on a better path to health. And I look forward to getting together sometime soon with you.
That sounds great, Steve. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.